Good morning, everybody. It's time for another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. And I wanted to go through a couple of things, really 5 things, that I do not like about the Vanderhall. Now, some of these are things that can be easily remedied. As a matter of fact, I've done most of the fixes for the problems or kind of quirks or something that you want to, however you want to call it. But they're not standard. They don't come on the car unless you get maybe a certain model. But on the Vanderhall Venice, 2019 and lower, I believe is right. So nothing that's a Venice GT. These are all features that you're going to find that are missing on a stock car that hasn't been modified whatsoever. So let me get right into it. Okay, so the first thing almost everybody does, the first thing that everybody kind of complains about is the fact that there's no glove box door, right? So when you get a Venice, an older one, again, this has been remedied on some of the new versions, you don't get any kind of door to cover anything that you would put in here. This is where your traction control and your hazard light button is. I've got a GoPro mount and this extra cord hanging in there. I normally keep another pair of goggles, like some that I can drive with at night, that's also in there. That's just something that kind of things you would want to put in like a glove box, easy to get to, and there's no way to secure them in there. Literally they fall out if you accelerate hard enough. So having a door, which this one I made myself, this is a piece of Kydex or ABS plastic or something that I just measured out, cut it in some generic shape, very poorly wrapped it with some cheap leather, like fake leather vinyl kind of stuff, and then used the extra parts from the lock mechanism as little hooks to hook onto the bottom edge. Mine doesn't require you to screw it into the dash or anything. I literally just kind of set it on there and then close it, and then once you lock it, it keeps it in place. Now it's not the most secure thing, so I wouldn't put anything in there that's like really valuable, but it's something to keep all that stuff hidden and tucked away and not falling out, and this leaves enough slack to let you get the cord in and out of there. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of nice. But then of course, if you want to turn your traction control off, you can't get to it, and I've seen some people modify this so that they can push the button through here, which is kind of cool. But anytime I want to take the traction control off, which basically every time I drive it, I just open the glove box, push the button, close it, and then go about my day, because that's good enough. So second thing that everybody cannot stand, and this is a problem on all the models all the way across the line. I don't know about the Laguna, the very first version of the Vanderhall that came out, but the Venice, whether it's a GT or not, even if it's the very base model, the Blackjack, or all the way up to the GT, the new Carmel or Caramel, however you want to say it, all of them have this problem, and it's the glare from the gauges onto the windshield. So at night, these gauges and this windshield are at an angle that the glare, or that you see this reflected in the windshield itself. So anything that's on here is reflected right in your line of sight. So everybody that wants to get rid of that has to build their own little covers. So these are some covers I made out of Lexan, out of an old RC car body that I just molded, kind of shaped to go around each one of them, including the temperature gauge over there. And I just double-sided taped them on here, so it's kind of hard to, I mean, you can't really see it, but they're just double-sided tape. The small ones are double-sided taped straight onto the top of the gauge. These I actually bought a little 4-inch visor that goes on like a motorcycle headlight that I bolted this to, because this material was enough that it was trying to pull away, so I wanted it to be bolted down, and then that metal visor is actually what's double-sided taped to this. Okay, so pretty simple solution. There's somebody that's making a 3D printed one, or I guess it's molded now, that you can buy for it. I'm not sure how to get it. If I figure it out, I'll link it in the description below. But some way to cover these gauges at night so you don't get the glare on the windshield is almost a necessity. They make a dimmer kit, like a switch, and it dims the lights a little bit for driving at night, which is better than nothing, I'm sure. I don't have that on this version. I think it's standard on some of them after a certain VIN number, but it's not on all of them. And even if you just dim it, it's not really enough to get rid of the glare completely, so most people are putting little visors on the gauges. Okay, so the third thing that everybody complains about a Vanderhall, and this will go for, again, anything that's not a Carmel or a Laguna. Any of the Venice, whether it's a Venice, a regular Venice or a Venice GT, is getting the hood on and off. So these hoods don't just have like a latch that you can, you know, undo it and lift it up. You actually have to bolt the hood on, which I think is awesome actually. But it's kind of a pain if you were just gonna take this off and do some quick maintenance, or you wanted to show the engine at a car show maybe. Gotta unbolt the hood. Now, I've changed mine to a rivet nut, which I'll show you here in just a second. And it makes it easier to get on and off. So, because there's these little clips that are in the back side of this that move around, and everybody gets, so I really should say, it's not that taking it off is the hard part, it's that putting it back on is the challenge, because the clips move around behind here where you need to line these back up. So you get it all on there, and then you're fighting these clips to get it all lined up to screw back into it. And a lot of people have issues with that, so they don't even want to take the hood off. But I'll show you how easy it is with the rivet nuts here in just like 2 seconds. Okay, so I took the hood off real quick. So this is what the inside of an engine bay of a Vanderhall looks like, just in case you're wondering. Mine's a little dirty. Not crazy, but a little dusty more than anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean it while this is off. But just to show you, these are the rivet nuts that I put in to these brackets. Normally there's a little clip that slides on here and it moves around. It's got all this play in it. So I put these rivet nuts in. Now I had to go to a 10mm nut because the hole that was in this mount, or this tab, was too big to accept a 6mm nut. It just wouldn't tighten down in there. So I don't know, some people don't have that problem and the 6mm works fine, but for me I had to go 10mm, which is no big deal. I just put a bigger bolt in, it's fine. I had to remount the holes in the hood a little bit where the bolt went through there, but otherwise it's fine. Now the back side has a plastic tab here, and there's a plastic tab behind this somewhere. You can see every time you take this screw in and out, you mess these holes up. But yeah, so that's been a pain. So getting the hood on and off, just a nuisance to get the hood on and off more than anything. It's not the end of the world, but it's not just a nice latch so you can just lift it up and be good to go. Hey, a leaf. So this leads me to my next issue. So getting to the rear storage, you have to move the seat forward as far as it'll go. Yeah, this is all the way forward and the seat doesn't tilt. So that's kind of an issue. Like getting back here, you can get to stuff a little bit, but if you want to get to your battery compartment, which is right here, this comes off and the battery's underneath here, and it's kind of tight in here to do anything with the battery, to get it in and out and everything. It's not impossible, but it's not ideal. If these seats just tilted forward like, you know, a normal seat would, that would be much easier. You could get to the storage, you could put like a full face helmet potentially in there, maybe if it fits right here, but we definitely can't get it in there with this little bit of gap. So seats tilting forward would have been nice. And then just the general lack of storage. I mean, the storage back here is pretty good. I get a lot of stuff in there. I keep a little bag. It's got like an inflator, tire puncture kit, a little jumper, a little jump starter thing there, in case the battery's ever dead, and some cleaning supplies and stuff. So I keep some decent stuff back there, and this all fits back there with room to spare. I even keep a little mini chair. But yeah, so general lack of storage, and getting to the storage without the seats folding down, kind of a problem. But you know, again, kind of nitpicky, but still people complain about it, and it is kind of a pain to deal with. Okay, so I'm at glove box, visors, hood, storage. All right, and so number 5 are the tail lights and the fact that there's no third brake light. When they're on, they're very bright. When you go to push the brake, there's not a big difference from on to full brake. So adding a third brake light is kind of, I think, should just be a requirement. I'm not sure why there's not a third brake light on this. Mine's a little dirty because I went and drove around a bunch today. Putting a third brake light on makes a huge improvement in the visibility for when you're stopping. Some people are doing like lights on the roll hoops up here, I've seen, that incorporate into the brake light, which is pretty cool because it puts it up higher. I kind of like that idea, but I haven't seen a super clean way to get the light on the roll hoop and where it looks integrated. So I did a third brake light because that just made a little bit more sense. And mine flashes. So just so you can see, this is no brake light. This is just the tail light. And when I push on the brake, there's the difference between off and full brightness on the brake light itself. So here, just watch this one. I know it flickers a little bit because of the LED, but so that's just standard tail light and then brake light. There's not a huge difference there. So adding the third flashing brake light is what I did. Makes, I think, a lot more sense for visibility. So anyway, so that's what I did. This is my sweet way to do this. This is an old 4-foot long CB antenna. Actually, I can put on here because I installed the CB, right? And I have this sweet whip antenna. But anyways, that's the way to show you how the brake light works. I push on the brake pedal while I sit back here. Yeah. Anyways, I'm turning this off before I fill my battery. So yeah, I think just for safety, they should probably all come with a third brake light. I don't know why they don't. I mean, that's just, I don't know. They should definitely have something on there because again, there's not a big difference. So those are the 5 things that I think are maybe issues or problems or something on a Vanderhall. Those are the little things. Again, you can remedy a lot of them. A lot of this was just DIY. A matter of fact, all of it was DIY. You know, the dealer doesn't have an option. Vanderhall doesn't have an option for a third brake light or visor cover, or visors over the gauges, a glove box cover, any of that. Now again, they've remedied like the glove box for one on the Venice GT and on the Carmel. They come with a glove box cover that's actually nice and way nicer than what I did. And the Carmel has a little hood that you can pop open. I don't know how you open it, but I've seen people pop it open. It doesn't come all the way off to give you all of this access, but it gives you access probably to at least do like an oil change or something. I think. I don't really know that for sure. Man, I need to clean this. It is bug season in Texas. So anyways, so that's where I'm gonna leave you guys off. You know, that's what I've seen that has been a problem with the Vanderhall. Again, not super big things, all things that you can pretty much fix on your own with a little bit of time, a little bit of money, but not even very much. I mean, I've spent hardly anything on all these little mods. You know, some of it was free stuff I had just laying around. So but it's all pretty cheap and easy to do. So yeah, the only other thing, so this would be like the 6th thing, would be the side mirrors. So they're flat mirrors when you get the car. These are convex mirrors that I've got on here. They're like, I don't know, 15 or 20 bucks or something. They bolt right on. They went on exactly in the same place as the old ones, same size and everything. They're black instead of the chrome that was on here, or stainless or polished or whatever it was. But they're convex, so I can see my blind spots. I love them. Some people hate them because they make things that are right behind you look really, really, really small. But it's something that I get used to. I actually put them on every car I own. I've even got them on Frontier. I've had literally every car I've ever owned. I've put them on there because I like being able to see my blind spots, see everything in the other lane. And I think that's a big deal on a car like this especially. So yeah, so that's really, those are the big things that I think need to be changed, or that could be improved, and they've, like I said, they've improved a little bit. But yeah, overall I love the car. I mean, don't get me wrong, these are little things that if you don't change any of them, you can live with this car and you will still love this car. This car is amazing. Most fun car I've ever had outside of like a Jeep, but it's way faster than a Jeep. So yeah, so that's really it for today, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibes here. We full of life, you keep the change.